You think you're being productive because you're busy. You feel the pressure, the tension, the constant ticking clock in the back of your mind. Emails, meetings, notifications, the next task, the next goal. It feels like motion. But here's the truth no one tells you. Urgency is often a lie your brain tells to feel useful. High performers don't react to urgency, they override it. Because when you chase urgency, you sacrifice clarity. And without clarity, you cannot win. This is the hidden performance leak that sabotages even the most ambitious people. You confuse intensity with effectiveness. You confuse movement with momentum. But top-tier execution requires one thing above all: the ability to slow down your mind while speeding up your results. That's what this protocol installs. You're about to learn how to shut off urgency as a default setting and reprogram your brain to operate from controlled precision. Not rush, not panic, not dopamine-driven to-do lists. Precision. The problem starts in your limbic system, the emotional brain, specifically in your amygdala, which was designed to keep you alive in the wild, not help you build a career in modern chaos. When it senses overload, it pumps urgency to the surface like adrenaline. You feel the need to do something, anything. That's not strategy, it's survival mode. And survival mode is garbage for long-term execution. So here's the protocol. Step 1 is called detection. Before you can override urgency, you need to recognize its false signal. The mental fingerprint of urgency looks like this: shallow breathing, racing thoughts, task switching, compulsive checking. The moment you detect at least 2 of those, that's your signal. You've been hijacked. Now you install step 2, interrupt. This is where you use a simple technique grounded in vagus nerve activation to cut the circuit. Breathe in for 4 seconds, hold for 2, exhale for 6. Do it once, eyes open while staying seated. That 10-second loop switches your brain from sympathetic, fight or flight, into parasympathetic, rest and control. You're not relaxing, you're regaining command. This is not a wellness trick. This is a tactical reset. Every time you do it, you weaken the urgency circuit. Now your brain's no longer reacting, it's observing. That single shift alone can 3x your cognitive output over the next hour. But we're not stopping there. You've interrupted the signal. Now you replace it with something stronger. That's step 3. A command input. Here's the key idea. The brain cannot function in a vacuum. If you remove urgency but don't install a new instruction, you default back to chaos. So we give it a clear directive. You ask one question: what is the highest leverage decision I can make in the next 5 minutes? That question bypasses the noise and forces executive function online. It activates your prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain responsible for planning, logic, and goal tracking. This is the control tower of top performers. You don't just work harder. You think smarter, faster, cleaner. And by repeating this process, detect, interrupt, command, you train your system to run a different operating mode. Urgency stops being your driver. Precision becomes your baseline. You're not reacting. You're executing. You're not sprinting. You're calculating. The illusion of urgency gets weaker every time you override it. And that's exactly where we go next. In part 2, we install the second layer of the protocol: urgency conditioning. Because the ultimate advantage isn't just escaping urgency, it's weaponizing it. Now that you've learned how to interrupt the urgency impulse, it's time to turn the tables. Because high performers don't just neutralize urgency, they train it. They condition their nervous system to recognize urgency not as a panic signal, but as a command to focus. This is where most people fail. They either avoid pressure altogether or drown in it. But there's a third option. You build a brain that treats urgency like a sharpening tool. And that happens through deliberate urgency conditioning. Here's what that means. Your brain learns by association. If every time you feel pressure, you rush, scramble, or react emotionally, then urgency becomes a trigger for chaos. But if every time you feel pressure, you anchor into precision, your nervous system starts associating urgency with power, with direction, with clarity. That's how elite performers weaponize stress. Not by numbing it, but by training through it. So, how do you install this? You use what's called controlled urgency reps. Think of it like this: you're lifting neural weights. You deliberately place yourself in a compressed time window. One task, 5 minutes, hard deadline. Then you run the same 3-step loop. Detect the tension, execute the breathing reset, ask the 5-minute leverage question. You don't multitask, you don't break focus. You train your system to stay surgical under load. Do this once per day, not in a real emergency, not when it's convenient, but on your own terms as training. What this does is rewire the link between time pressure and execution. Your brain stops flinching at the clock. It starts sharpening. Now you're not just managing urgency. You're using it to induce flow. This works because flow state isn't just about peace. It's about intensity with direction. Neuroscientifically, it's a cocktail of norepinephrine and dopamine, both of which spike under challenge. But only when your focus is narrow. That's what the protocol enforces. In challenge without chaos, focus without tension. It's the neural sweet spot. But let's take this deeper. Because urgency isn't just internal, it's social. And unless you handle that next, you'll always be vulnerable to other people's urgency hijacking your system. That's where the protocol moves into its third layer, shielding. How to block urgency contagion from meetings, messages, and external demands before it invades your execution pipeline. That's what we're installing next. You've learned to override urgency internally and condition your nervous system for precision under pressure. But there's a threat most people ignore, and it's the most dangerous. External urgency, incoming messages, Slack notifications, quick meetings, crisis emails. Every one of them is a backdoor into your mental operating system. And unless you build a shield, your cognitive focus gets hijacked before you even realize it. The problem is simple. Urgency is contagious. One person's panic becomes your distraction. And most environments are designed around this chaos loop. They reward the fastest responder, not the clearest thinker. But you're not here to be reactive. You're here to build dominance over your time. So here's how to install the shield. Step 1 is called boundary declaration. That means defining clear execution zones in your day. No inputs, no signals, no interruptions. Start with 1 per day, a 60-minute block. And it must be a fence, not admin. No reactive work. Only high-impact thinking, writing, or decision-making. That's your command center. You treat that window as sacred, and you signal it visibly. Change your status, block your calendar. Move location if needed. The more you ritualize the shift, the more your nervous system anchors into it. Step 2 is called preemptive signal clearing. Before you enter that block, you scan for potential urgency triggers. People, platforms, loose ends. You deal with them in advance or silence them completely. This includes muting notifications, disabling alerts, and sending one-line updates to anyone likely to pull your attention. You do this not because you're being polite. You do it to cut the urgency loop at its source. Top performers don't wait for distractions to arrive. They eliminate the conditions that allow distractions to appear. Step 3 is called urgency filtration. This is the ongoing process of classifying every external input as signal or noise. Every time something tries to enter your world, you run it through one filter. Does this require action from me right now? Or is it someone else's urgency disguised as importance? If it doesn't meet your current priority stack, you drop it. Not delay, not deprioritize, drop. Because every low-leverage decision you entertain dilutes your strategic capacity. And your brain, especially your prefrontal cortex, has limited bandwidth for top-level cognition. Protecting that bandwidth is not an optimization. It's a requirement for elite output. When you install this shield, you stop playing defense against external urgency. You become the firewall. You decide what enters. You decide when it enters. And over time, people adapt. They stop expecting immediate replies. They start respecting your time blocks because urgency is a social currency. You set its value by how you respond to it. Lower your price and everyone spends it on you. Raise your standards and you reclaim control, but shielding alone is not enough. The next level of the protocol is what separates performers from operators. It's one thing to resist urgency. It's another to flip it into strategic acceleration. In the next part, we shift from defense to offense and install the decision acceleration protocol that lets you move twice as fast with zero stress. Now that you've built control over urgency, conditioned your nervous system, and blocked external hijacks, it's time to install the upgrade that changes how fast you move without burning out. Because here's the truth, urgency isn't always the enemy. In fact, when used properly, urgency becomes your accelerator, but not the chaotic kind. Strategic urgency, deliberate urgency. The kind that lets you make decisions faster, execute cleaner, and scale results without noise. The only reason urgency ever feels stressful is because your brain is trying to decide under pressure. It's not the pressure that's the problem. It's the decision lag. You hesitate, you evaluate, you loop, and in that loop, the system overheats. The solution is decision acceleration, a mental framework that strips hesitation out of your workflow, because elite performers don't make better decisions. They make faster decisions at the right level of resolution. So here's how to install it. Step 1 is called binary framing. Most decisions that drain you aren't actually complex. They're vague. You haven't defined the constraints, so your brain keeps processing. The fix is simple. You force a binary structure. Yes or no, now or later, delegate or own. The moment you collapse a decision into two options, you remove the gray area. This pulls it out of the emotional loop and into the executive function zone of your brain. Now it's computable, and you can move. Step 2 is called consequence anchoring. You ask one question: what happens if I'm wrong? And here's the key. 90% of decisions you stress over have low to zero cost, but you treat them like they're irreversible. That's what creates friction. So you build the reflex to anchor each choice to its downside. If it's low risk, you move immediately. No rechecking. No committee, just move. If the consequence is high, then you apply step 3. Step 3 is called tiered buffering. This is where you create structured space, not for reflection, but for compression. You define the maximum time you'll allow before committing. That could be 10 minutes, 1 hour, or 24 hours, depending on weight. You lock it in and move on. No reprocessing. No background thread. Your mind stays clean. This prevents cognitive clutter and reclaims working memory, essential for clarity under pressure. And finally, step 4 is called execution default. This is the state you return to after every decision, one action, taken immediately. Doesn't matter how small. The reason is simple. Momentum erases doubt. Action metabolizes uncertainty. And your nervous system learns faster through motion than through reflection. That's how you build the reflex. Decide fast. Move once. Repeat. What you're doing is rewiring your brain to collapse the gap between thought and action. And once that becomes your baseline, urgency is no longer a threat. It's a signal. You see it. You strip it. You use it. The pressure becomes direction. The clock becomes a focusing tool. And every input becomes a test of your system, not a trigger for reaction. This is how top performers execute without noise. They don't have fewer decisions. They have fewer unresolved decisions. And now, so do you. In the final part of this protocol, we installed the last layer, how to automate all of this into a repeatable, frictionless execution loop. So you don't just override urgency, you replace it with a precision engine that never turns off. Everything we've built so far, interruption, conditioning, shielding, acceleration, was designed to give you control. But control isn't the end game. Automation is, because control still costs energy. It still requires awareness, effort, vigilance. And top performers don't just stay in control, they install systems that run without their attention. That's the final layer of the urgency illusion protocol, transformation into automation. The goal is simple. You want your nervous system to treat precision as the default and urgency as background noise, not through willpower, through environment and behavior loops. Step 1 is anchoring. You select one trigger in your environment, something you encounter daily. This could be sitting at your desk, opening your laptop, putting on headphones. That trigger becomes your anchor for the protocol. Every time it happens, you immediately run the reset loop. Detect, breathe, question, act. You do this daily until your system associates that trigger with calm execution. This is how you hardwire calm as your entry point, not panic. Step 2 is environment conditioning. You audit your workspace for urgency triggers and replace them with precision cues. Remove visual clutter. Eliminate open tabs. Set up your environment so that the only visible elements are the task at hand and the tools to execute. This primes your sensory system for focus. And over time, it trains your brain to associate this space with forward motion, not frantic multitasking. Step 3 is review compression. At the end of each day, you ask 3 questions. Where did urgency hijack my clarity? Where did I override it successfully? What one adjustment will increase control tomorrow? This review takes less than 5 minutes, but it creates a daily loop of self-correction. Your system begins to adapt. Urgency becomes a pattern you dismantle, not a force you obey. And step 4 is called the override identity. This is not a task, it's a belief. You embed one statement into your mental operating system. I don't react, I decide. You repeat it mentally at the start of every high-stakes block. You treat it as a software line, because belief isn't fluff, it's neural priming. And when your self-concept aligns with execution, your behavior follows. The urgency illusion collapses completely when you no longer identify with the person who responds to it. You've now replaced panic with process, hesitation with motion, noise with clarity. And what you've built isn't just a productivity upgrade. It's a strategic operating system designed to give you compound leverage, day after day, task after task, decision after decision. The difference between those who burn out and those who scale is never intensity. It's installation. The winners don't run faster, they build better loops. And now you have one. So if you're building an arsenal of mental codes that give you a measurable edge in career, finance, and life, this is where it starts. Subscribe to Success Code and load the next protocol. Because this isn't just about working smarter. It's about executing like the elite every time. No urgency required.